Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Kellen here from Start Your Systems, and welcome back to another edition of Track Walk in MX Bikes. And today we are playing the visually stunning Avalanche track by Hurren MX, or Hurren Visuals, depending on what you know them as. Of course, before we start this video, I want to jump out in front of this and say it now that this is a paid track. You can get it on the MX Bikes shop page for $2. And again, as I always say at the beginning of these videos, if you guys don't think that it's worth it to pay $2 for a track, just remember how much time and effort is put into how much, these guys put these tracks together. And I think that this is a beautiful, beautiful track and worth the money. So let's go ahead and spin some laps on it. This is a really, really nice track that Hurren has put together. Visually, it's stunning because it's got this winter kind of, wonderscape appeal about it. But taking all that away, the track itself rides really, really well. Pretty high speed. I would say that if you're pretty beginner-ish, I would recommend a 450 on this track just because there's some jumps I would say that are a little bit difficult to get if you're not really grooving on a 250. For me, I was able to get most of the jumps on a 250, but I wouldn't get them consistently. Like on a 450, I feel like I can actually get the jumps consistently, even though I'm over jumping them right here. And then the rest of the track, just kind of flows as a pretty normal little track right here. Good inside ruts. Obviously, the snowfall makes it a little bit challenging sometimes visually to see exactly everything that's going on. Maybe you get caught up with your line selections or something like that. And I'd also say that the traction, because of it probably being a icy, snowy track, he's made the traction, I feel like, pretty slippery. It's pretty hard to get the rear end planted on this track and pretty hard to carry momentum because of that. So again, for beginners, you might run into the issue of just not feeling like you're doing a very good job riding this track, but I do think that it's a little bit more difficult in that nature. It's got some pretty developed rain lines and ruts and stuff like that. Like it is almost a proper mud track in that regard too, where there's a lot of lines through each section and it's not smooth and all buttoned up and stuff like that. It's meant to be a challenge because it's snowing out and it's hard to get it right. But like I said, visually incredible. I love the theme for this time of year. Obviously Christmas just happened, so Merry Christmas to everybody. Hopefully you guys had a good one. And it was a very, very cold Christmas in the US for a lot of people. I live out on the West Coast, so it wasn't that cold, but a lot of people in the mid-US with that Bob cyclone got some snowfall and some very, very cold days. So like I said, it just fits the theme. At least it fits the theme for the Americans. I know it's also snowing in many parts of Europe, but in Australia it's summertime right now, so that juxtaposition has always been a little bit hard for me to grasp. But Merry Christmas to everybody. Hopefully you had a good one. Do want to say real quick that I apologize for the lack of uploads lately here to the channel. I got sick for about 7 to 8 days. My daughter had caught a cold. She was sick for a couple days, then handed it off to me. Then I was sick for a long time. And through all that, I had to work while I was sick to get the Racer X Supercross preview shows done. So between trying to get sleep and trying to get healthy again and doing these preview shows and getting work done, I had nothing left in terms of content production or really any sort of value of any kind. I was pretty much just a slug on the couch. Finally started feeling better by Christmas time, so I was back to almost normal. But then Christmas came, right? So I wanted to spend time with my family. I personally feel that that's way more important than producing content, even though I like sharing stuff with you guys. My family is my number one to me, so I just wanted to take that time and spend the time with my daughter and my wife and have a good Christmas together. So that is why the lack of content, but I'm finally back, finally reasonably healthy. Still have a bit of a cough, a little nasally, and then my daughter got sick again, so hopefully I don't catch whatever she has. But we're going to try to get some content banged out as we get closer to the new year and getting close to the start of the new Supercross season. So that is why I've been just completely MIA for the last little bit here, but we're going to grind it out and we're going to talk about this track here today. So that is one full lap so far. You can kind of see how the track flows. You can see, where the lines kind of connect together. You can see what's almost good and bad about it just from one lap, because you can see, in my opinion, what, lines work and what lines kind of don't. I think everything flows together pretty well, but it's a little bit, tight and twisty in some sections, a little bit, fast and drawn out in other sections. Like that whole back straightaway is a little kind of gnarly to throw you off your game, I think, because it's really tight and technical in here, and then you get blazing wide open on that back straightaway, and because it's so slippery, boy, it can catch you out in a hurry. Like, you really have to be really well metered on your throttle control. You have to carry some good speed in sections and stuff like that to really not blow your cover. So trying to do my best of it here by not making it look terrible. And I'm going to do a first-person sesh after this. I'm a first-person player regularly in this game, but I always like to show off the third-person side of it just to show, like, hey, like, whips are pretty cool in this game. This track looks visual stunning. You can play this game in third person and still have a good time. So that's why I try to show off a little bit of both. Try to get the third person and first person viewers both a little bit of something that they can enjoy. Yeah, I mean, Hurren did a great job. There's a lot of tracks that have been coming out on MX Bike Shop that I want to review, but I also want to get to some of the free tracks because I like the content creators that are still putting stuff out for free and still, really helping out the community in that regard. So I'm trying to get, a list together of tracks that I want to do and tracks that I want to play. This one was just honestly too good to pass up, so needed to play it. And like I said, theme-wise, fits great. I have no idea personally how he puts the snow into the game. I know that in MX Simulator, that is all done through sequence files, which is a whole different ball game. And if you've never even tried to build a track before, I'd highly recommend not even trying to go down that route because it's all to do with animation and GIFs and transparent GIFs and all this stuff like that to make it work. From what I can see, it kind of looks like this is maybe almost like more of a 3D object. Just because it's really, really like spread out, and when it's coming down, it looks pretty billboard-ish. So I could see it being a sequence file, but I don't know how that works. I've never built a track in MX Bikes. I don't plan to because it's, in my opinion, much more difficult than MX Simulator. But these guys obviously know how to get stuff done, and certainly made it look visually incredible with this. So sick of the Poboso bounce in this game. Hopefully that gets buttoned up sometime in the near ever. But yeah, just really, really good visually. I've never actually ridden in the snow. I've raced in the rain and stuff like that, but snow is a whole different ball game. And from what I can tell, most people don't really ride in the snow necessarily. Sometimes you ride while it's snowing, but the track is still pretty, not dry, but definitely not like covered in snow. So this is probably about the most snowfall I've ever seen someone actually ride in before, aside from the snow bikes or, snowmobiles or something like that. It seems like this is like right on that cusp of like it's snowing, but it's not too snowy to stop you from riding because the track is still there and it's still dirt and stuff like that. But I'd be curious, anybody that does ever get a chance to ride in the snow or has ridden in the snow, like, what are some of the challenges of it that I wouldn't know? Being from California, like I said, I've definitely never had the opportunity to do it. I don't see a reason why I personally would do it ever, just because it's something that I can ride pretty much year-round here without much problem. So why would I need to go somewhere else to ride in the snow? But let me know which part of it is the most challenging. Like I said, I think Hurren probably made this track just a little bit slipperier because of that snow feeling. Like the ground is going to get kind of hardened as you ride a little bit because of the coldness in the air, but then obviously the snow falling makes the ground a little bit slushier. Stupid double catching me out. So the ground being a little bit slushier, maybe it also kind of breaks up the dirt a little bit because it's not as cold and hard, but it's like such a weird mix where it'd be like icy and slushy at the same time. Probably pretty hard to get any real semblance of comfort in there, but like I said, I wouldn't know. I could tell you how to ride Blue Groove Hardpack much better than how to ride in the snow, so that's why I would cater to leaning on you guys for that information. But now we'll do some first-person laps here, show off the track in first person. And like I said, just visually stunning. Like, this is one of those things that unfortunately, because there are so many good tracks coming out lately, I could see this thing getting kind of shuffled back a little bit rather quickly. Like, there's a lot of tracks that I haven't even played or I haven't seen other people play that are really, really good tracks that should be played more, should be raced, in my opinion. Oh my gosh. But because there's other good tracks coming out at the same time, it might get shuffled to the back a little bit. So hopefully I can get to those, show those tracks off, and get you guys to play those at maybe a later date or something like that, so get people still involved. But yeah, this is just, it's so well thought out and so put together. Like, I would say Hurren's tracks in a way remind me a lot of an MX Simulator creators by the name of Hagvist's tracks from back in the day. He used to do highly, highly detailed enduros and motocross tracks and stuff like that. Tracks that, and not to say that this track isn't something that beginners couldn't get used to, but Hagvis tracks were definitely like, you had to be an advanced player to really feel comfortable on them. And I would say that that's almost the case with this track, just because of the challenge of the slipperiness, the challenge of, you know, a lot of ruts and stuff to try to navigate through. Like, it's definitely not an easy track to get used to, and it's one of those things that it probably took me, you know, maybe 4 or 5 laps before I was really doing like any sort of consistent laps, at least not like, you know, fast laps or any regard, but at least somewhat staying up on 2 wheels, somewhat actually hitting all the lines and stuff like that. Took me a little bit to get used to that. I was trying to go to that inside rut, but didn't want me to have that today. Sometimes I feel like this game overreacts to the angles in which you land. It's kind of annoying to me that, like, I'll just be slightly leaned over and it's like, oh, so you wanted to go to the ground. And I'm like, no, actually I was just kind of leaned over just a tiny bit to go to this direction, but you wanted to go way, way the other direction. And that can be a little bit annoying. It's a fun jump right there. Definitely hard to get on a 250F though. You really got to be carrying some momentum through those rollers. So double in the back right here is fun. Little floater right there. Like, this back section is, in my opinion, the funnest part of the track. It's just so hard to like adjust your focus, I guess, to go from those slow speed sections of checking up and hitting all those little small doubles and whatnot into the corners to like, oh yeah, here's a section where you want to carry so much speed it hurts because you're just blowing through the wind. But yeah, really well put together. Let's do one more lap on the track here today. Send you guys on your merry way. And if you have any questions or concerns about, you know, MX Bike Shop or how to get this track into the game or anything like that, always happy to answer and help in any way I possibly can. Up and over this finish line jump. Really fun finish line jump. I never ended up going to the left right there, which is pretty much just a roller back onto the start straight. But really poppy. Pretty much like, I would say, one of the lone, like, poppy whip type jumps on this track. Like, other jumps on this track are definitely whippable, but I feel like that one was almost designed to be like, hey, this one's gonna throw you fat, so you might as well get ready to toss a nice little sweet whip out there. Come on, get this downside of this double a little bit long, a little bit sloshy, little bit barrel roll, because Pips physics. Down the back side of this jump right here. Like, these inside ruts work really well if you angle into them. It's one of those things that I never even really learned how to do it well in Sim. The idea of like angling into a rut. Let's see if we could pop this, like, kind of jump off the table right here. We can jump out to this roller right here, but we're gonna come up a little bit short. But if you angle into these ruts right, which is kind of like follow the trajectory of them, those ruts work super well. Like, they flow really nicely. They have a good arch to them, so it doesn't feel like you're like notching through them in a sense. That's a little bit long into that rut, but we still made it. Never went outside right there, but you can't jump out to like that roller right there. And then I think you can even triple through these roller sections, but again, my talent foregoes my ambition on that a little bit. A lot of rollers though. Sometimes I feel like rollers can be overdone on a track, just because a track creator will be like, well, you know, I got a flat straightaway here. I don't really know what to do. I'm just going to put rollers. But I think he's done a pretty decent job of kind of mixing it up. Like, he's got 4 roller sections, I think, on this track. Probably a bit too much. I think I could, you know, do without maybe like this roller in the back section right here. Would probably be good to not have it. And they're not really rollers so much as they're whoops back here, but like, I think you could just have a little straightaway and then, you know, hard on the brakes to this little single jump would be kind of fun. Just a little bit more technical than going over whoops every section of the track. So like I said, it can be overdone. I don't think this is terrible on this track, but definitely seen tracks where you can tell the track creator was like, I don't really know what to do right here, so we're going to put rollers again. All right, there we go. Get to this inside line. Let's go outside right here. Land on this little embankment and just carry speed through all the snow and the slush out here. Through the rollers we go. Probably should stand up. Can't really sit through rollers very well. And then just yacht. I see, like, what is that? My front tire is facing the right way, and I've done it in third person before where I see how that looks. And I'll tell you what, most people would be able to land upright on that. I don't know why it always just angles so hard one direction or the other. But I digress. Every game has its flaws. All right. A couple more straightaways here, and then we're going to wrap up the video here today playing Avalanche NMX Bikes by Hurren Visuals. If you guys have a track that you guys would like to see done for a track walk, please be sure to let me know in the comment section below. Always happy to try out tracks that you guys think are fun, just to kind of, give the community a little bit better feedback and stuff like that, so that people who are watching my videos know what good tracks there are to play. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Hopefully I didn't crash too much or ride too slow for your enjoying and pleasure today. Toss a little fatty one over the finish line jump and bring it back. No problemo that time. So thanks guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you in the next one. So long for now.